Montfort University, UK, and M.Tech in Solid State Technology from IIT Madras. He has made remarkable contributions to research, having authored over 100 research papers and holding 6 patents. Additionally, he has played key administrative roles at IIT Roorkee, including faculty in charge of the TIDES business, Incubator, and STEP, and has been actively involved in IEEE professional societies. We are honored to have him with us today, and we are eagerly look forward to his insights. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Dr. Sanjeev Manhas. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, so thank you for very generous and kind introduction. Let me say very warm hello to all the participants. And it is indeed my pleasure to be part of this FDP. And also, I missed the inauguration because I had some other meeting. So let me also greet all the coordinators and administrator of Chitkara University for putting together this program on forensics. And the topic is very relevant for today, and has growing importance all the time. So what I want to do is to discuss with you briefly some of the key uh, strategy of pedagogy and teaching learning methods. And we will go through some of the interesting aspects because it has been always felt that even if the curriculum might be great, you might have a extraordinary knowledge of the subject, as well as your topic might be so much relevant. But if the methods and pedagogy and tool techniques are not correct, then the impact will not be as much as desired. So, learning pedagogy and be aware of pedagogy for all the faculty and teachers when they go into class is an important aspect, because I have always myself felt that we get lost in the technical matters of the subject, but then lose sight of how the pedagogy is to be done. And some of the basic aspects that need to be kept in mind during the learning and teaching of a subject, which is very important and should be kept in mind. So, this particular lecture is more about trying to remind all the faculty and teachers out there about to be mindful of the pedagogy and teaching learning practices when you yourself go to a class. So let me then again begin, and uh, I will basically go into the some of the important principles and tools and methods of pedagogy, how you can enhance your educational practices by taking following certain aspects and tricks, and also how to motivate students and unlock their potential. So, since I missed the inauguration, I wanted to talk in a couple of slides about the FDP and why are we doing these FDPs and what we expect out of these FDPs. In a way, what is motivation of doing FDP itself, as well as also what is our expectation and goal by vis-a-vis what faculty members will benefit by doing the FDPs. So, the mighty government of India has funded this program, and they are very keen on ensuring that the curriculum that is being taught across the country in engineering and science and technology and other social science subject areas is of relevance uh, to industry as well as to society as a whole, and students are learning techniques and tools which will prepare them for the challenges of the future. Now, what we want to do by doing such program is to ensure that the teachers themselves upgrade and upskill and become proficient in the subject matters which are of importance to today's scenario in industry, academia, research, and society, and to make sure that ultimately the beneficiary of such programs are students, in which teachers create a multiplier effect by learning the subject or by upskilling or gaining the knowledge in the subject matter, and then reforming the subject matter in whatever way he feels or she feels appropriate, and incorporate it in their own curriculum, courses, projects, lab, etc. So what we expect is that teacher will then take over from where we left off in FDP, improvise it, and then deliver it to the students. So this is the multiplier effect that we are expecting, and our core goal is to ensure that we implement the learning we gain in FDPs into curriculum and training as a whole. We bridge the gap between what is there in industry versus what we train our graduates on, and we encourage practical learning by hands-on and problem-solving approach. And our grand vision overall is to enable all the participants, faculty members, and professionals as the facilitator of a transformative learning, which will provide the institute's graduates and students coming out of the colleges with the right sort of skills, tool sets, and knowledge which are relevant for industry, research, and their careers. So this is our overall goal and grand vision. And we do hope that doing such programs as what we are doing with the Chitkara University today, we will be able to achieve with the full cooperation, support, and participation of faculty members. So all the faculty members are the pillars for our our own fulfilling of objectives. If you meet out what we set out, and if you take initiative, lead, as well as effort in implementing and transferring your learning in terms of what you do here to your own students, we will think that our effort have been rewarded. So that is what we plan to do, and I request you to keep this in mind when you go back to your own institutes. And as so far as these FTPs have also vast benefit and multiple motivations for faculty members themselves, because it helps them to stay updated in the emerging areas. It helps you to bridge the gap between academia and industry. It also fosters innovative teaching learning approaches, align your curriculum with the NEP 2020, because what we are trying to imbibe in FDPs is an approach which is a balanced mix of both theory and hands-on and practical sessions. So it automatically tunes with the guidelines and policies of NEP 2020. And we also doing these such programs help you to modify, develop your curriculum and integrate emerging technologies in the curriculums. Importantly enough, you also have collaboration and networking, which is interaction and sharing best practices, talking to the experts, knowledge persons, doing hands-on. All that actually builds a fantastic what you call learning as well as experience and confidence in learners themselves or the faculty members themselves in handling the subject matter. So again, how you can collaborate with us at IIT Roorkee, EICT Academy to organize a fully funded faculty development program in hub and spoke model. We are looking for more institute to come forward to collaborate with us in this hub and spoke fashion, and what way we work is that we create a centralized institute to act as a hub, and then they actually propose a program, or they work with us to propose a program and then finalize the schedule along with the experts, as well as also hands-on, where we can also provide you the support in terms of knowledge and share resource person, as well as curriculum support in building up the FTP. And then uh, we expect that you will reach out along with our own help, because we also publicize the FTP that has been organized, uh, onboarding, registering participants ultimately. And what we also do, importantly enough, is to provide financial support. There is a coordination centralized in sync with the ESTT Academy IIT Roorkee. We also publicize, giving you wider outreach, as well as it enables optimal resource utilization and effective learning. So I would like to spread this message to everybody. Whoever is interested can reach out to us for any of these faculty development program to work with us either as a hub or a spoke. Now, in addition to FDPs, ESCT Academy has many other activities, and one of them is advanced or PG certificate programs. And these programs are designed looking at the needs of those learners who wants greater in-depth knowledge in the subject matter, where they can actually then start to look for opportunities themselves. FDPs are good, but they are basically give you a very broad and maybe crucial knowledge about the subject matter, and maybe also like what are the advances, and really very sort of bird's eye view of many topics. But if you want to go deeper and you want to learn something in greater detail and become expert yourself, then you can look up to this kind of program which we have here in PG certificate. And these programs, the learners are engaging with professors and experts both from IIT and elsewhere for a longer duration, like 6 months, and doing a total curriculum which is equivalent to 3 to 4 subject courses with the hands-on, practical, and career mentoring and guidance, and so on and so forth. So if anybody is interested, particularly the graduating students or the fresh graduates, and they're looking to develop expertise in certain areas, and they are looking to interact and work, take guidance from IT professors, you can actually look at these programs. Right now, we have 3 programs. One is electrical vehicle, another one is a PG certificate program in applied data science and AI, then PG certificate in cloud computing and DevOps. So all these programs are very nice programs, and you can reach out to us, and you can also visit our website and the LinkedIn, Facebook pages, and you'll find more details there. And the fees for these programs are also not very high. The similar tier program at similar or maybe not in so good institutes also will cost you at least 3 to 4 times, whereas you only are be able to get this PG level certificate from ESCT Academy IIT Roorkee for only about 38,000 rupee, which is not a whole lot, and the payment can also be done in installments. Okay, so that is was briefly about ESCT Academy, and I would like to now go into greater nitty-gritty of pedagogy and what can be the best learning practices and teaching practices for all the learners and the trainers themselves and the faculty themselves. So one of the things that I would like to highlight and think all the learners about is about, there is a time is right now to kind of blend and change the curriculum of all the UG level engineering courses, at least, to include what can be called as AI core for engineers. And this is a common program which include both not only programming skills but also AI courses done through 3 or 4 different subject courses throughout their engineering program. And this is something which is not to be restricted only to 1 or 2 branches like computer science or electronics, but this is a program which actually need to be taught to all the graduates. So you can think of all the faculty members of how this change can be done at your own individual institutes. Many leading institutes, including some of the IITs, also have made changes to their curriculum where they now are teaching AI curriculum to the students, and it includes not only programming and associated data structure algorithms per course, but also a course on data science and machine learning, AI, and deep learning. So the topics that are important are related to machine learning, deep learning, NLP is very important, computer vision, ethical consideration, data analysis, programming skill, practical application, and so on. So it needs to be made sure that the student understand the basics of AI technology, their potential applications, and it will strengthen the what you call curriculum of all the students and make them more ready for the industry, because this AI is already there, and it is up to all the educators around the country to make sure that we are training our students with the latest cutting edge technologies in AI, and how these technologies can then be used in the respective engineering domains, because the application use as well as what you call need for AI based curriculum for all the engineering areas out there. In fact, sometimes the applications of machine learning and use cases of machine learning uh, in areas such diverse as biotechnology, uh, geoinformatics, chemical science, and you name it. So there is hardly any area where you can't think of applications and needs as well as demand for AI engineers in these fields. So better we incorporate this for all the students. I think sooner and better it is, as well as making sure that students get the exposure which is of need of the hour in terms of both industry needs as well as the gap that exists in terms of demand in industry as well as what we train the students on. What it also demands and requires is the training and upskilling and knowledge upgradation of the teachers themselves. So it is so the institute administration should have a sort of a plan and policy of slowly but steadily upgrading all the teachers of their institutions with one or two programs, and then once they have the basic fundamentals, the rest of things can come by when they start doing the programs and courses themselves. And what's in terms of the pedagogy of these programs, it need to be very practical oriented, because all these subjects really are something which are working on data. Other than the mathematical theory, it's all the application on data and its use in the domain specific application. So whenever the programs are being taught, they should be in a model where there is a equal, if not more, emphasis on practical sessions. So you could have a 1 hour course with 2 hours lab, or you could have a 2 hour fundamental program with a 2 hour or 3 hours lab. So this is something that I request all the faculty members and administrations of the engineering institutions to work on aggressively if they don't have such programs already in their curriculum. Okay, so going to the subject matter of pedagogy itself. Now, pedagogy as this area is basically a discipline which emphasis on developing more effective learning strategies, and the core of that is to mix theory and practice, creating more sort of holistic education for the students. So the pedagogy is something which actually ensures that the content of the program and the course are ultimately received, learned, and applied by the students through active learning processes, keeping them motivated, giving them practical hands-on, involving them in a variety of activities during your content delivery, and so on. The core objective or aim is to adapt the methods of teaching to diversify needs of the learner and to promoting critical thinking, ensuring creativity and innovation. Now, what are the some of the core principles of pedagogy? Are first of all, learner-centered approach. So A good pedagogy or a good teacher will always keep the interest of the students in mind. I mean, he has to know. I mean, we are. I'm not talking about high school or the students where the curriculum matter is more or less fixed. There also, but particularly in higher education, a learner or undergrad, he has come to a college with a certain interest and certain aspects towards what do you call it? Certain sort of perception of how he want to learn. So it is important for the teacher itself to, or him or herself to know how to actually adapt approach which is keeping students sort of not only the interest and students what do you call various scenarios in terms of what is the interest of student, what how motivated they are and what they are looking forward from the subject matter. So all that actually need to be understood by student very teacher very well, and this can be ensured by doing fostering active participation, encouraging student-led activities, also ensuring active engagement, and also very important aspect of pedagogy is the inclusion. So you need to ensure that all the uh, diverse set of background of the students that you have in your class are felt part of the class. Their address, their concerns, and their issues are taken into consideration whenever teacher decide to take up a topic or decide to do something in class. And you need to look at what is the cultural background of the learner, what are the linguistic sort of knowledge, and what is the linguistic aspects, and also what is the socioeconomic diversity. So it need to be ensured that you create a very welcoming environment and which is inclusive, where everybody feels part of the same group or the same class. Some of the other aspects in pedagogy are collaboration, adaptability, innovation, and these are those methods which ensure that the students are taking interest in class, and they are learning from each other. They are fostering teamwork. They are building good communication skills, and they are also very flexible, as well as they accommodate different learning styles and preferences and so on. Ultimately, also the goal of any engineering education or higher education itself is to create a content and deliver it, and also motivate innovation and train student to be innovative. So you need to also ensure that you utilize the innovative technologies, make creative approaches, as well as use the tools to enhance learning outcomes and so on. So one very important aspect of engaging in class is active learning. Now, in this, the the perception of the student should be such that they are actively thinking, they are discussing, they are looking to investigate, and they are creating something. So students should practice some or other form of skill. They be able to solve and work on complex questions, and also be trained to make decisions and propose solutions, and also be able to explain their ideas through their own writing and discussions and speech. And there's plenty of evidence where the research has shown that incorporating active learning strategy into curriculum significantly enhances student learning and overall content satisfaction. Some of the strategies that you can adapt in learning are basically uh, you could do basically things like engagement, higher level thinking, collaboration, reflection, and application. And this can be done by way of approaches like think, pair, and share, where students individually reflect on a question, then discusses with his or her partner, and finally shares his thought with the larger group. You could also break up a problem into multiple problem, and then let the students come up with the solution to individual problem, and then integrate them together into a bigger solution of a bigger problem in the form of a model which is known as jigsaw activity. You could give them the case studies of real life examples and then apply the concept that you teach in class to make the decisions. And also, there are other methodologies and strategies like debates and discussion, asking students to do some kind of role playing where they act out certain scenarios and then take different perspective and map out the situations. And you could do problem solving based learning, active quizzes, and also quick writes and so on. So there are various ways in which you can actively involve the students in the learning process rather than the teacher all the time either giving lectures or giving some tutorials where they're just solving one or two problems. See, activity based learning actually and learning which is more hands-on and practical keep the student motivated, more satisfied, and take interest in the subject matter, ultimately leading to innovation and creativity. Motivating students is a another very important aspect, and there are a variety of methods and ways by which you can keep your students motivated in the class. Now, this is one of the very big problem all the time. Everybody, whenever you talk to your friends, peers, and colleagues, you will always say that I don't see motivation in class. So there are so many techniques and methods that are shown in this slide. Even if you take 3 or 4 and actually uh, and also adapt or where you think you can do it better, and you can take some of these uh, tricks and techniques, and if you practice them, you will see a definite change in the interest of students in your own class. So some of them which I like to highlight, I myself find very appropriate is first of all to ensure that you clearly set out the goals and the rewards that will come out of the learning the subject that you are going to teach. If you do that, if you show them the promise and if you show them the reward, you will definitely see the interest, because you are giving them something as a reward or you're giving them something as a promise, and people look forward to that whenever they want to learn a subject. Then projects and real life experiences is another important aspect. There's plenty of evidence where you will find that any project based learning is something where the students stay motivated and they are more committed to come up with new ideas. In contrast to rote sort of theory or simple few problem solving based approach, some other things, for example, active learning we already discussed. Collaborative learning is another very important aspect. And one other thing which is I think is very important is to timely provide the feedback. So if you take an exam, quiz, or if you discuss anything or you promise something and students do submissions, then you discuss that submission or you tell the students like what and uh, how they fared in their particular evaluation. Because if they don't get the feedback, then they think that teachers anyway don't care, and they do not know how good or bad their attempt was. So there is no actually feedback, and there is no actually sort of correction as to how they are approaching to the subject matter. So there are always now college has very set defined guidelines of showing them the answer sheets and checking their quiz and displaying the results. So that actually helps to generate the interest in the students. Now, going to the teaching itself, some of the leading scientists and philosophers out there, they have they have also given their views on teaching. So I'm quoting these three, which are very well renowned scientists and philosophers, and they also highlight or their like vision also, or their thinking also actually ultimately is stresses on the pedagogy of the subject matter rather than the subject itself. I mean, if you look at what they are saying here, is that it immediately will map and resonate very well with what we are trying to project in pedagogy. Okay, so you are creating, for example, Socrates says that I only make them think. I cannot teach anybody, but I make them think. Meaning that you are again doing something in terms of active learning and you are creating an environment where you're motivating, and you are basically ultimately will through the thinking and then researching and then applying will create innovation and creativity also. Here again, you are motivating the students to find for him or herself. Again, it is basically involving the student in the learning process where he is motivated and he is interested to help him find or discover the student's subject for him or herself. And the great Albert Einstein says that I never teach my people. I only attempt to provide the condition in which they can learn. So this he is stressing more on an environment in a class or in a learning set where you provide those sort of right conditions where people are asking questions, people are discussing, they are proposing something which is a solution, ultimately leading to again innovation and creativity. Because I personally feel that any form of teaching, learning has to, in the end of the day, come come up with some innovative and creativity in the subject matter of the student that they're taking, and as an attitude of students in terms of question everything, think innovatively, and be motivated to create. I would like to give you now some data points about uh, how people have reflected upon the various aspects of learning and education. This is basically data based on the uh, feedback from some professionals who were in computing industry as to what was the weakest contribution of engineering education in computing and related disciplines. So you can actually see that they're pointing out some gaps which actually as a teacher, when we go to our own class, we need to keep in mind that this is what your student also might be expecting. And if you do something to fulfill some of these weak gaps, then you probably do better in terms of content delivery. So one thing that they say is that the students are not trained well enough to be able to make good decisions. Then the second thing they point out is about thinking ability. So how to think critically, and how to create a holistic picture of a subject matter or problem at hand, and then how to apply it to create innovative and creative solution is something which is very important. The other matters are like procedural knowledge is also an important aspect, which means that you need to teach your content accurately and create enough interest. Conceptual knowledge and the learning ability are also important, which are considered weak by the students. Okay, so when you actually go and talk to people and look at what is their experiences are, then see what really caused what you can see as a forward movement in terms of people, a student sitting in a class, uh, becoming active and evolving and taking interest in the subject matter. There are some of things that if you create a condition which happen in your own class, you will find that the student taking interest, and there is a lot of encouragement also to the students, and become active learners. If there is an unexpected result somewhere in your discussion, and particularly when the students are doing themselves something, that is something which creates next level of understanding. There are also situations where there is questions regarding evidence and choice will lead to some sort of next level of movement. Variety of observation, if you provide in your content, will create forward movement. And also importantly, any sort of absent satisfactory answers from authority also leads to a forward movement in the class. If students and learners able to apply the uh, subject matter through the assignments to solutions of problems at higher level, or applying what they learn to a new context, is something which also creates a lot of excitement and motivation, uh, leading to a forward movement in the subject matter. And engaging in reasoning and discussion is also something which is very important as part of our learning process. Now, you also need to know that it is important that what really is practical and sort of fact, that how learners who are adults, grown ups, they they learn the subject matter. So the small high class students or high school students learn subject matter differently than grown up like 20 plus guys will learn, because there the attitude to learning and thinking over the subject matter is not uh, so kind of purely uh, mind mindful thinking and uh, theoretical core or foundational concepts, but it is more practical, experiential in nature. So learners need to know why they need to learn something. We need to actually clearly explain what, if you are teaching something, why it is important, how it is connected to some sort of prospects in industry, how it is connected to practical life, how it will create a foundation in the students or in the learner themselves to become better thinkers, to become better problem solvers, to become better innovators and creators of something. And also, the practical learning is very important part, and the adults actually need to learn, or adults need to experience something to learn. So, if you create a practical, hands-on, experiential learning in your subject matter, you'll find better reception of your own content. And this, at the same time, learning by problem solving is an also very important aspect, and this is something which is also appreciated all the way, always, all around the globe, uh, in a methodology, in a pedagogy, where you do a problem solving based approach, and you find a change in interest in your whole class and effective teaching learning practice. And also the topic, if the topic that the adult is learning is of immediate value, they see a reward in something they are learning. So if I learn, for example, let us say Python, and then I see that I can use Python to code something to solve a sort of let us say circuits, or I can do some automatic processing which will help make my life easier, or if I can immediately do something and use it in machine learning, I will be more motivated to learn. So these are the some things which you should keep in mind whenever you actually start engaging with your own graduates. So there are some other sort of teaching methods that engineers reflect on and they give feedback on, is to how they rate different type of teaching methods, different pedagogy or components of the pedagogy of a program or a course. And you can see clearly that the top three are all those which are practical oriented. Now, this is a survey which based on a group of engineers who were actually asked that what they felt was uh, what works from them when they go back, when they learn their subjects. And particularly for IT engineers and by implication, all the hardware, software based, device based engineers. Uh, and for that matter, any other engineer, this can be easily generalized to other domains, any domain. When there is a project, group projects, collaborative project, and practical training in the form of experiential learning, as well as also in the form of problem-based, problem-solve-based learning, the impact is maximum. So that gets the maximum marks or maximum normalized figure of merit points, and they are considered pivotal. So if you do not have that, the really something is totally missing, and you will find that the impact of your learning is really not even 50%. You can see even the lectures are way sort of somewhere down like below 50% type of marks. So the thing is that it is very important then that to plan your program in such a way that essentially you include practical training hands-on in your learning, followed by content which is lecture theory and more foundational in nature. So there are also the students basically said that most effective lectures are found to have at least one form of active and collaborative learning strategies, which included group problem solving, group work, discussion, and critical, and so on. Okay, so there is this basically method and classification involving what is known as Bloom's taxonomy, and it basically uh, is a model which classifies the learning objectives and cognitive processes uh, from foundational knowledge to ultimately synthesis and evaluation. Now, this generally applies to almost all form of learning and cognition. But if you actually correlate this more to the engineering education, and you see that uh, what is the perception of the students versus what they think they want to do, is something which is very, very different. When students think that they will go to class, they expect that they will be asked to calculate, they will be asked to explain and prove some theorem, some principle, drive something, determine, justify, write for something, and so on. Whereas what students think is that what works best for them with respect to learning is design, analyze, understand, build, and apply. So you can see the difference in terms of what they're asked, think they'll be asked in the class versus what they think that will be best for them if they want to learn the topic. So the thing is that adapting, implementing, and creating, developing, demonstrating, all these are something which are practical, objective, delivery-oriented learning approaches, and we need to ensure that a very balanced mix and blending of both theory matter as well as practical aspects are taken care of in order to ensure that there is the best pedagogy and learning for the students and the graduates and the learners themselves. So after pedagogy, I will go through few practical tools. So there are, first of all, we must know that now the learning and teaching methodologies are evolving very fast. Post COVID, there is a lot of incorporation of IT based techniques, tools, as well as also methods, uh, to the extent that this can be also very effectively used in helping your own students take greater interest, motivate your students, create active learning environment, and also promote creativity and innovation. If you do, if you incorporate, blend some of these tools in your own teaching learning practices. So there are various tools where you can do quizzes, you can have gamification of learning by using tools like quiz, and there are tools for collaboration, and there's also tools for online practice exams. So all these are something which can be benefited from, and can be taken, blended into your own content delivery, and this will help to ensure two things. One is you're more efficient and less sort of stress on you in terms of delivering a course, because it really simplifies many sort of activities that you may have to do in order to evaluate students, in order to create a content. And also proctored exams is an important aspect. So they help you to maintain integrity, online tests. So wherever there is a situation and you need to create an exam, there are tools, and they are very, very good tools. Okay, and they are very, if you properly set up your device, then proctored examination can be as good as offline exam. So do take a look at these techniques and tools for delivering your content. There are some other tools which are very important, and you can use them, like real-time classroom engagement, taking feedback, assessing teachers to provide immediate support. There are tools for creating a appealing presentation, educational material. So whenever, for example, I deliver a course, I use one or other form of LMS, learning management system, where I integrate some of things like quiz and also a feedback. Even now we are using an online app or a tool for taking attendance, and we have made sure that there is no plagiarism, no any false attendance students being able to give, and it's very effective because it simplifies my job of taking attendance in the class. So there are ways of innovative pedagogical practices in engineering education, and some of one model that is shown here is something which relies on promoting creativity through cooperative learning, group learning, learning through teaching, case study based learning, and problem solving in groups. So these are the core sort of activity in a class or in a setting that can happen, ultimately promoting creativity and innovation. So there are various ways of training methods, and in addition to the live class, there are workshop, case studies, so on and so forth. So you can take a look at them. And like I think you already know, many of you would be aware of this. So what is important is to be able to kind of use the case studies or wherever possible in analyzing real world scenarios to enhance the understanding and apply practical principles in these practical situations. Also, simulating professional environment to enhance practical skills, building confidence in and adaptability in diverse setting is actually also very important. And uh, the teaching methods, experiential and gamified learning, are basically something which are also very important and can be should be core strategy of your pedagogy. And providing hands-on projects, fieldwork, internship, etc. is important. And delivery methods can be a variety of them these days, like you can have blended learning with mix of online and in-person, synchronous learning, which is real time and which fosters classroom interaction. This is something which is more traditional orthodox learning. There are other things, asynchronous learning, where learner independently learn on their own and then do the self-paced modules, and resources are provided to the learners. So this is totally something where you do not interact with the students. So all the online platform which are offering these certificates, etc., are doing this in asynchronous manner. And there is also a model of hybrid learning which mixes or combines the strength of both online and offline learning. This is some of the sort of more open platform tools known as MOOCs, massive online open courses, and these are also very popular, and students also use them in many institutions. We are allowing students to take MOOCs based courses and use them for grades, particularly from NPTEL. We know that NPTEL is basically being used, and professors offer courses, and there the grading and also offline exam is held at various centers. And there are various other platforms which is very popular, and use of MOOCs is also very important aspect. And you can always refer in your own training and learning, giving students uh, access or suggesting them something to take the MOOCs based program. And you can also create your own content and send it to NPTEL or any other platform, and let students do this blended learning, where they can take study or read your lecture before they come to a class, and then you only discuss the subject matter and do the practical learning. One very important tool is Moodle. Moodle is an open source learning management system, and it provides a platform for online courses, and it has ways to do quiz, forum, assignment, submission, grade tracking, etc. So I encourage, if you haven't tried it, I have tried it and I've used it, and it is very effective. Although it is not very user friendly sometimes, but if you can overcome those inconvenient features of Moodle, then it can be a great tool. But in addition to Moodle, there are many other tools like Canva is there, Google Classroom is there, and you could think of any other mix of tools to create LMS for your own particular program. So I think I will stop here. I have a few more other slides, but they are not so relevant for pedagogy. So I will like to stop here, and I would request if there are any other questions or queries, I will be happy to take. Any questions or query I would like to discuss?
On the behalf of Faculty Development Program on Digital Forensics for Innovators, Leveraging Open Source in Cyber Investigations Organizing Committee, I thank the respected FTP speaker, Dr. Sanjeev Manhas, for their valuable talk and hands-on the sessions. With the permission of FTP speaker, I am concluding the session. Thank you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Bye.
Uh, we will take 5-minute break, and after that, next speaker will join.